And welcome back to the Bonus Level Podcast. This is level 29 coming at you, and it is a Marvel extravaganza. I, of course, am Jack, joined with me as usual, Josh and Luch, and a very special guest who just had a heart attack, or somebody did. I don't know who that was. Caleb, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Sorry about that. That was just my Tony Stark impression.
Oh, okay. Resident ghost expert extraordinaire back on the show. Also, seemingly a fan of Marvel. So this is the part, though. Okay, this is the part. If you've clicked on this episode of the podcast, this level, and you've seen the title, and you still clicked on it, this is the part where I tell you, if you haven't seen Endgame, please pause this, go watch it, then come back. Do not go forward listening to this episode if you have not seen Endgame, Infinity War, or any of the other movies that you may want to watch and don't want them spoiled, because this will contain heavy spoilers.
Guys, if those of you who theorized Thanos was a thing, it was true. That's how it happened.
So again, this is the part where you don't listen anymore. So you've been warned, and going forward, Endgame came out this weekend, a culmination of 10 plus years of Marvel entertainment and storyline, and it broke records at the box office, of course, doing what was the total 1.2 billion in ticket sales.
It's okay. It's good.
In 3 days, which is just absolutely absurd. Yeah, it's so. It already hit after 3 days. It already hit number 18 in the all-time box office list. So, which is just nuts. So I'm sure it'll be number one by the end of the month, or maybe a little bit longer. But so we're just going to start. We're going to kind of get everybody's gut reaction. So again, everybody's been warned. Spoilers. If you're still listening, we're assuming you've seen the movie and you're still here. Let's go to our special guest first, right? So, Caleb, you've been waiting a long time for this, just like the rest of us. Initial reactions. Tell us how you feel. How are you feeling?
I still cry myself to sleep every night. I mean, to start, it was definitely more than what I expected, which is even better than you could expect, because typically movies that you hype up in your head end up disappointing you in one way or the other. But for sure, this was one of the times that I can say that it lived up to everything I wanted it to do, and then some. I was laughing, I was crying a lot, and then crying, and then crying. So I was doing that a lot. It was waterworks all the way around. You were laughing, you were jumping for joy in certain moments that we'll talk about. It was literally everything that I ever wanted it to be, or I thought it could be, and then some, which is amazing.
Did you leave the theater feeling good about the movie?
Yes and no. I felt good about the movie itself. I didn't feel good that the fact that 10 years of my life, even like when these movies came out, I was like 11 or 12 years old when Iron Man came out. So I've been watching them throughout my entire life. And then it's just been a crazy ride just to see that it's over now. It's, I guess, over in a sense. It's that in itself made me feel, like my stomach. I'm like, wow, what's next?
Yeah. It's I can definitely empathize with that. Josh, what about you? How are you feeling?
It was so crazy, and like I've always enjoyed Marvel movies, like some of the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Thor Ragnarok and everything. Those movies, like, they blew me away because they were so fun and funny, yet at the same time there were emotional parts in them that really kind of drew you in. And so I was going into Avengers, and I knew that it was supposed to be the final one. And it was like, okay, finally this kind of stuff has happened. We had done some theories as to how we thought that things were going to go, but it was crazy. Like I took my Kason to see it, my 9-year-old son. And we're sitting there and we're watching it together, and like the intro comes on, and I feel this lump in my throat, and I'm like, "What the hell? Like the movie's just starting. Like what am I doing? Like this is coming out of nowhere." And then like, um, I don't know if the movie does it to you guys because you're younger, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, like in the movie Rudy, at the very end of the movie, like when he finally gets to go on the field after having to ride the bench all year and pretty much the whole movie and finally get the tackle. It's like one of those super feel good scenes that like you can't help but get emotional over, or like the end scene in Braveheart when he's getting his guts ripped out and screaming freedom, and you're so emotionally into that scene that you like feel that lump in your throat and you want. That's what I felt like for nearly 3 hours, because it was every
Yeah.
single scene was something incredible. Like there wasn't like, oh, this is kind of boring, or I wonder
Yeah.
what's happening next. No, every single scene it was like, oh shit, this is happening. Oh, this is happening. Like, oh my god. I was so emotionally drained and just a zombie after watching that movie. I loved it so freaking much. Like I can't even put into words.
Well, that's the whole point of this podcast. So maybe this is it for you.
I'm just gonna
No, I'm just
ramble
kidding.
on for a while, and you guys can kind of discern from that.
Yeah. Luch, what about you? How you feeling?
I kind of got to disagree with Josh a little bit. Like the entire movie was great. I did feel it was a little slow in the beginning. It took a while to kind of build up on everything, and then Tony Stark, does one hologram and he figured out the secrets to time travel, and an instant. Other than that, like I'm sure Caleb and Jack cried a lot more than I did.
I didn't cry at all, actually.
Your soul cried.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely, 100%.
I definitely did. I don't even care. No shame.
Yeah, no.
It definitely was a great movie. Definitely worth going to go see in a theater. I feel like you're not truly experiencing the movie if you're not seeing it in a theater. And then, of course, like one of the almighty feel-good moments that it's just all of them coming together at the end, and you just see the gates open and they just flood in. It was it was inspiring, just fucking awe in there. But it did feel a little slow in the beginning, and some parts did feel a little bit rushed to try to fit everything into the story. But other than that, I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think pieces of something that each of you said, I think I can definitely resonate with. I think that it was just hard for me at the end to really like, and I'm going to watch it again as I've only seen it once, but I had a hard time processing it as a happy ending. Right. The whole movie was just, I mean, moment after moment, just fantastic, between the humorous lines, the references, the callbacks, the Easter eggs, just the entire, 3 hours of reference to the past 10 years, all the moments that we've been, even they're time traveling back, and you get to see from a completely different perspective the old movies that you've watched through, whether it's, the first Avengers in the Battle of New York, and they're kind of like off the sidelines, and then, Hulk runs into the Ancient One and she's fighting the aliens too, but we never saw that, in Avengers 1. So like we're seeing all of these different angles to things. You see whenever Loki just got beat up and he's like, oh, I'll have that drink now, and everybody's standing around them, but you see it from a different angle, and so it's a very
the only angle that mattered was America's ass.
Let's be honest. That is America's ass.
But no, that was what was so incredible about it, was like, we had some predictions as far as, them having to get the stones, possible time travel and stuff like that. But the way that they did it, where it was like, we're going to go back and show, like, I mean, that was the thing that got me so emotional sometimes, was just going back to these different parts in these older movies where it's like, oh shit, I mean, we sitting in the chair in the theaters time traveled with them, and back to the point where it was like, I was watching that movie in theaters. Like I've seen all the Avengers, I think, and multiple Marvel ones. I don't think I've seen all of them in theater, but multiple ones. And so it was like, sitting in that same theater, like transporting back to when I saw it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing it from different angles with that little bit of, humor thrown in there. It was.
I had a suggestion, or not even a suggestion, an idea today and just thinking about all the things that we were going to talk about, of like somehow if they were able to like digitally update the copies of these movies that you had, if you were like watching Avengers and just like if you
Oh,
paused it
I
at a certain
know.
moment, you would
could
see
him.
like the additional like Tony Stark and Cap like back in the corner like looking, and you'd be like, oh my god, like there they were, like I never noticed them, or like stuff like that. And just how cool that would be to have it come full circle and full loop. But back to what I was saying, like I all of those things were just so amazing, and you want to take in every single moment. But then at the end, you have, more obviously, and some people, the listeners might not know, but I mean, most of you guys know, like Iron Man for me, from when I was a little kid, like I have always just gravitated towards him as a character, as a person, like as a personality. And then like growing up, everything I did was Iron Man, Tony Stark, whether it was from, the memorabilia and the shirts and, just different things that I had, in life, to like video games and my online persona. I mean, my YouTube channel, I based around this persona that I was Tony Stark of the gaming world, and, and to see the whole 10 years of all of the movies and the arc and everything that's been building to lead to my favorite character having to make the ultimate sacrifice to save everybody, dying, leaving his love and his, young daughter to kind of like fend for themselves and be fine without him, was, I mean, it was gutting. It hurt. Like, and it was so much to the point of like, it wasn't like I saw it and like I started crying. I saw it and felt like empty. Like I felt gutted. So like when the movie was over and they had won, I didn't feel like they had won. Like I felt like, oh man, that sucks.
Like why couldn't they have found another way to do it? Like, why did they? Yeah.
At the end of Infinity War, half the population of the entire, universe gets snapped in half. And it's like, I didn't feel like I did after Endgame for Infinity War. Like I felt like, oh, well, yeah, that's sad and that sucks, but like they're going to figure out a way to go forward. They'll figure it out. But after Endgame, I was just like, that's it. It's over. Like it's not only is the phase over, not only is this huge arc, all of these movies build up into this moment. It's over, but my favorite character is gone. Like he's gone. That's it.
Yeah.
So
it's so crazy because I mean we're talking on such a somber tone, such an epic, crazy superhero movie, which that's the thing that has been such a wild ride with this, was just how emotionally taxing this was, just because I mean we fell in love with these characters. Like I'm not talking about like, I like Thor or I like Captain America. They're cool superheroes. No, like I was emotionally invested in them. Like when things went their way, like I was happy for them. When they showed up on the scene and started kicking butt, like my whole body felt energized. Like I was ready to go. It was exciting. It was incredible. And so, yeah, shitty things happening to them is, yeah, it was gutting. That's the only word for it.
So like I said, like at the end, you want to be happy because it's like so awesome. We've been waiting for this like conclusion to figure out what they were going to do and how they were going to do it. And don't get me wrong, like there were so many funny moments and just awesome moments. Like Caleb was saying, like there were just all of these different moments all like piled in. But then, I wanted to walk away from it being like, man, that was amazingly epic. But like I couldn't really focus on how cool the end battle was because I'm just so taken out of it by the fact that like we watched the source of the entire Marvel arc. It started with Iron Man. It ends with Iron Man. It started, with him being like, you know what, screw it, I am Iron Man, to him being like, you know what, screw it, F you, I am Iron Man, and snapping his fingers. And that's just rough. But we'll move off of the somber note because I don't want to stay stuck in there because like I said, the movie as a whole was just so it was just so filled, right? 3 hours and 2 minutes of full on. Even the slower parts, like Luch was saying at the beginning, kind of, like the build up, even though like filled with just witty one liners and like interesting moments and things like that. So let's move it into Caleb. For you, what was your favorite moment in Endgame itself? Like out of the whole thing, like what was if you had to pick one moment that stands out?
One moment in the 3-hour extravaganza that was Endgame.
Or maybe even you're like, well, we'll do like our top one, and then we'll go around and be like, just bring up other really cool ones.
I'm gonna have to say I'll make a quick tie, because there's a tie between like absolute favorite moments, because there's a lot of moments I like. 90% of the movie I like.
Yeah, of course.
I would say 99%. But my all-time favorite ones, the first one, like quick one, would be the Avengers Assemble, when Captain, like everyone assembles, like when everybody's going through the portal, like seeing this insane battle scene, like literally just like how beautiful it was done, and just how much technology has improved, and like the CGI is just
right.
It was amazing. Like that part was so beautiful. It literally just like made me cry because it was beautiful. But my absolute favorite part of it, which I'm sure is probably going to be the same for a lot of people, is Captain Thor. When I see Thor, because Thor is my favorite character. If anyone didn't know, he's always been my favorite even since I was a little kid. But when you see him like fighting off, Stormbreaker from going into his chest, and then you see Mjolnir hit him in the back, Thanos in the back of the head, and you're like, oh, it's just Thor calling his hammer. And then you see the hammer go back, and you're like, wait, hold on, what the hell? And then you just see fucking Captain America with his ass of America just grabbing that hammer, and then he just goes to fucking town on him and just dropping thunder and just clapping them Thanos cheeks.
Dude, the
all across
fucking
the
theater went nuts.
Yeah, that's the first time I've been in a theater where everyone just unanimously just roared and like applause. Like
I couldn't keep it down.
insane.
Like it was an involuntary, almost yelp of excitement. Like, oh my god, oh my god! Like I'm getting chill bumps now just talking about it. That was unbelievable.
If I had to pick my favorite moment total, that was definitely my favorite moment total. Like
Thor just going,
part.
I knew it.
Yeah, it was just an insane moment, because I've never been in a theater where everyone just erupts in just pure joy.
Yeah, I think that that being such a obviously Easter egg back to Age of Ultron, I think it was, whenever they were all sitting around the table trying to pick it up,
drunk,
and and then Cap goes to pick it up, and like he budges it just for a split second, and the look on Thor's face is like of sheer like, wait a minute, like what did I just see? And then he can't pick it up, and he goes back to being like, okay, phew. All right. But he like sees it move. And then I'll definitely chime in and say that out of all of the amazing just one-liners and moments and just cool shots of the film, when when Mjolnir starts rattling and then just flies off, you think that like Thor's calling it with his other hand, right? And you think he's going to grab it. And then just the way that Cap catches it, like kind of just like with it, he like catches it almost like, it has all this momentum, and he's holding his shield in his left and just catches it in his right. And it was just like that. Yeah. Nicole said that Nicole was sitting next to me and said that she was like, I never saw you like react that way, like to something. Cause I was just like, my mind, like in that moment, my mind was literally blown. Like I was just like,
dude,
oh my God.
It's the most epic scene I think I've ever seen in a movie.
And then he does the traditional Mjolnir windmill, and then then he just cracks down the thunder, and you're like,
because and I gotta say, I personally, I don't know how this happens because I don't do this on purpose, but when I go and I start watching a movie in theaters, my brain shuts off, and I can't figure out puzzles. I can't see things that are coming. Like in the movie, I don't see things and go like, oh yeah, well this is going to happen, and obviously this is going to happen and stuff like, okay, so, and you guys tell me if you felt this way, and this is how dumb I am. Okay, so when they're all traveling back in time to go get their respective stones and everything, everybody, is kind of going here or there or whatever, and they send Clint and Natasha to get the Soul Stone. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is the dumbest thing possible. I'm like, how are these two ever going to defeat Thanos? Even with Gamora, it's the two humans. How are they going to defeat Thanos? And then they're going up the hill and they talk to Red Skull. And I'm like, so what are they going to do? They're going to hide here and then try stealing it from him? Like the whole time, it's not processing in my head until finally it does process in my head of what has to happen. And I'm like, oh no, like it hit me like a brick wall because I was just so caught up in the moment that I wasn't going like, oh, like the second they showed up on the planet, I wasn't going, oh crap, this is what's going to happen. No, I was hook, line, and sinker. Like, what are they going to do to get this from Thanos? They're pieces of shit. Like, not that they're pieces of shit. They're humans.
They're the two grounded. They're the two grounded Avengers. They don't have superpowers.
So I was like, these, big, strong gods can barely take on Thanos. Like, how are these guys going to take it? Yeah. And I was just sucked in. So when like the end fight scenes going on, when Thanos, like his ship lands and all these things start running out, like my face is seriously dropping it. And I could feel inside like my gut dropping, going like, what the fuck? I thought I knew how this movie was going to end. How are they going to deal with this? Like Cap's bleeding, Thor's bleeding. Like these guys are gods. They don't bleed. Like they're tired as, and then like you see the Doctor Strange portal. Oh my God. When that hit me, I'm telling you, that was another point in the movie where I yelped out of just sheer, like my mind. It had so much, like it was bouncing around so fast that I think air needed to come out somewhere. And it came out of my mouth and I screamed. Yeah. And like at that point, like I started like lump in the throat, the tears started, and I was just like, and that was just with the Doctor Strange portal. I was just like, how did I not think of this? How did I not think that Doctor Strange and everyone was going to come? Like
he just snapped everybody back into existence. Like,
yeah. But it just, for some reason in my head, they weren't coming, that these guys were going to have to do it alone. I don't know why. I was just completely sucked into the movie. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because I watched it like my son was watching it. Just, you know, he wasn't trying to plan ahead or, like sometimes, and I'll do this with horror movies. You're watching a horror movie and you go, okay, that's an actor. He's been in, he was in Jumanji last year. He was an extra, that kind of thing. So, if he dies, he's not really dying in real life. And it takes you back to reality enough that you can kind of settle down and not be scared. In this movie, I was sucked in so much that I had zero concept of reality. Like I was just completely whatever was happening in the movie was happening in the movie. I was watching it in real time and I did not see anything coming until it was seriously smacking me in the face and I was losing my shit.
So I'm gonna say a couple of things there. I actually wasn't too fond of the Hawkeye Black Widow scene too much. Yeah, it was a powerful scene.
Hold on, if we're about to talk, if you're going to talk about that as in like you're not your favorite scene, we'll get to that.
Well, no. It's not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think they missed an opportunity. Mm-hmm. I think Captain America would have done better with Black Widow in that scenario than Hawkeye. One, due to the fact Red Skull being there, and two, to the fact that Captain America, being as righteous as he is, would definitely try to fight more to throw himself off the ledge than Black. I
don't think they had the same connection as Hawkeye and.
I mean, they definitely had a strong connection, and I think that the two. But it's just like
definitely not the same though, because they've been Hawkeye and Natasha were close since literally the beginning of the MCU. Like they've always, ever since the first Avengers movie, they've been pretty much like tight knit. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, Bruce, what's your favorite? Like I said, we're gonna get to those. We're gonna get to those moments that were a little lackluster. But what's your favorite moment?
Noob Master 69. It's definitely one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I could not stop laughing. As soon as you walk in and you see Thor Lebowski just there, and and they're just there. And it's like he's back, Noob Master 69. And Thor just
hello. Is this Noob Master 69? Yes, it's Thor again, the God of Thunder.
Isn't it Noob Slayer 69?
Yeah, I think it's Noob Slayer. Noob Slayer 69.
The new master Noob Slayer, something like that. And Fortnite's playing in the background. It just kind of tied in like, our reality to like theirs a little bit and made it seem, like, Captain America's out in Norway somewhere, chilling, drinking beer and playing Fortnite with some buddies.
I saw the funniest meme associated with that. It's like, I don't know what's sadder, that Thor got fat or that Fortnite's still popular in 5 years.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but seriously.
Oh, but another thing is, I've been to one other movie where everybody got up and clapped, and that was actually Star Wars: The Clone Wars when Yoda came and fought Dooku. That was another one where a lot of people.
I remember that. That was true because I think I saw that one in theaters, and Yoda pops out his lightsaber, drops,
and then starts flipping.
And oh yeah, that was so fun. Yeah, I've been to a couple different movies where I've seen people cheer, but I could tell you that the scenes in Endgame, that was insane. Like that place exploded.
But again, probably my absolute favorite scene would definitely be the Avengers assembling. Nothing gets your goosebumps riling more than like seeing
teamwork, camaraderie.
We'll get back to unfavored scenes when it gets to it. But do you guys remember when Ant-Man, you remember when the ship started attacking the Avengers Palace or the Avengers headquarters?
And he just got absolutely manhandled by all those missiles, but somehow was okay.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, oh, my brain was trying to process that. I was like, oh crap, they already snapped everybody into existence. I think that was the second that I was like, okay, they've snapped everybody. So at that point, if anyone dies, because in my head, I was kind of like, okay, well, there were some people that died in Infinity Wars, like Vision, that he's not coming back because he didn't get snapped. So, we have to kind of count him out at this point. But then once Thanos came through the portal and started hitting him, I was like, oh shit, we've already snapped. So that means anyone that dies past this point actually dies. So that's when I really, really started getting scared for everybody. And I was like, oh God, this isn't good. Like that. And Ant-Man, I was like, oh shit. I was like, no, he can't die.
And I thought he did die because he served out his, his usefulness was gone. Like, he was the person who brought like, the way to time travel and everything like that.
Which was incredibly hilarious.
And then he just gets, and like I thought I literally saw his body disintegrate. Like just.
Yeah. It's got absolutely lit up by like all of these missiles, but
hellfire.
But yeah, nothing got my goosebumps around more than all the Avengers assembling at the end. It was too good. Yeah.
So just to kind of tie all that up and throw in my 2 cents. I mean, I definitely will agree that the Captain Thor moment was just the best, probably cinematically how it was done and just. Unexpected as well. The Avengers assemble at the end, like you kind of figured. I mean, I'm unfortunately not like you, Josh. Like my mind is constantly like, okay, this means this, which equals this, which means they're going to try to do this, and like trying to figure things out. And so, like as soon as he snapped, and then they were fighting them, I was like, all right, cool. At anytime, the rest of everybody can show up. Like, all right, and then they did, and I was like,
I forgot about it. I feel so dumb.
Yeah, and then they did, and then it's like, okay, and then they had the Avengers assemble line, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, that's awesome.
Question: one thing I didn't know is the Storm is a Stormkeeper or Stormbreaker? I forget. Stormbreaker. Does it revolve around the same rules as Mjolnir or no? Can anyone wield Stormbreaker?
Not in the same way Thor can.
Well, what I'm saying is like, Thanos was worthy to
pick it up. Well, no, he can pick. Cap definitely could pick it up. Like Cap was holding it, and Thor was like, "You take the smaller one," and like he gives him Mjolnir.
I just didn't know if Mjolnir like revolved around the same.
It's they don't really go into it too much.
Revolved around the same.
It's the same kind of concept, yeah. I mean, just because he's pushing it doesn't mean anything. Because he's just putting his weight against it, and there's a blade, so. It's not like he's holding it and like swinging it and stuff. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if like only certain people could wield Stormbreaker because it seemed like a lot of people were having their hands on it. Yeah. No, except for Mjolnir.
So anyway, the Cap moment, right? So he grabs it, he catches it, it's super epic. But I think what was even more epic than that was his Cap Thor combos, right? So whenever he he does the Mjolnir, twirl, uppercuts him, and then he throws it off of him, catches it. But then whenever he hits Thanos with the shield, right?
Mhm.
And the shield bounces off and he smacks the shield with the hammer and then hits it off of him. Like that whole combo. It reminded me of like that Marvel Alliance game. Do you guys remember that game where you like formed your team and then you could like do combos depending on like what your team members were? You had like if you had Cap and Iron Man on the same team, you could have Cap hold his shield and you could bounce the Iron Man laser off of him. Like just like those combo moves, kind of the callback to Infinity War and just everybody kind of teaming up. But then earlier in that fight, before Cap gets his ass beat and they all kind of just get torn up, whenever Tony puts that thing on his back, like his arc reactor kind of opens up on his back, and he's like, "Thor, hit me!" And it like hits, and he shoots the lightning into it, and it kind of just like engulfs all of Tony's arc beams. Like those moments are just so cool whenever they do the combos between each other, or like Spidey whenever he picks up the gauntlet, right, and he catches a ride off of Mjolnir, and then like gets passed off to like he's hanging on to Valkyrie, and it's like all of those little.
You're skipping the best part when he like taps the part and he goes like auto kill, and then the fucking leg just
just stabbing everybody.
A pound of bodies, just like a mound.
So let me ask really quick: if you would ever imagine seeing Spider-Man flying on Mjolnir, holding the Infinity Gauntlet, riding a Pegasus, would that have ever been a guess to you?
I need a tattoo of that on my back right now.
Right?
I would go with you to get that. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. We all heard it here.
Let's make it happen. We all need to have that.
Yeah, we just need to put our backs together and it just be one big mural.
One big scene.
Who gets the Pegasus?
All right, I want to be in the middle with Spider-Man's head. Or no. I take that back. I'll take his crotch since I'm big dick Spider-Man.
I don't know. I think we should do it on our chest, and you can have the nipple as like his like head.
Okay,
well, that's funny.
This went downhill.
Yeah. So other really awesome moments, right? Let's call out some rapid fire moments. Professor Hulk, awesome. Professor Hulk.
Jack's theory just ran into the dirt.
Wait, which theory?
The one that
of Loki. Oh yeah. Hey, Loki being dead, R.I.P. I mean, look, the best part about like these movies and in our shows and the things that we theorize is the fact that we talk about them, we come up with these like crazy theories, and then we watch and you're like, oh, cool, it wasn't that predictable that we were able to figure it out.
Exactly. I am so happy that out of every time that I've ever theorized about things like Westworld, Game of Thrones, like Avengers type stuff, like I'm always wrong, and I'm so happy because if I ever walk into the movie theater and they have what I just theorized, I'm like, well, shit. Like
I saw that coming.
I was kind of expecting that. Like, no, I want them.
Oh
like,
my god,
these are professional paid writers. They need to be coming up with better shit than my goofy ass over here.
Great moment, Professor Hulk smash.
Or Professor Hulk dab. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I want to know. What Thanos' I want to know what Thanos' double sword is made out of. All right, to just crunch through the shield like that.
Thanos is a beast. Like,
I think they made him a little bit too strong, though.
He was so strong without the gauntlet. It makes me wonder why. Why? No. Hold on. He took on Captain Marvel with the gauntlet, though. Yeah, he had all 6 stones in the gauntlet.
Yeah, but I mean, he was strong, though, man. He was
strong without it, right? So, like, I think the way they did it was that he was in his prime fighting days, his conquering days, and he was at his peak strength, and he was the Titan, right? He's like the Mad Titan. He is strong without the gauntlet, right? And the likes of Thor and Cap and Iron Man, even 3-on-1, he was just like that strong. I think that had they been at full strength, they just had a building dropped on them. First of all, I think that if they're at full strength, full energy, I don't think that the 3 of them lose. You also have depressed and fat Thor, right? So he's not 100%.
Compared to when he came into Wakanda, Thor coming into Wakanda for the first time with Stormbreaker.
Greatest scene ever as a Thor fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, again,
was
the
so
reaction
awesome.
times, like, Iron Man shooting off like 12 beams at a time, Captain Thor's, launching Mjolnir and shield attacks, and, Thor's doing his normal badass fat Thor things. And, like,
but it wasn't as
Thanos
strong,
is
though. I
just
think
like,
none of them were.
again, like.
And it's 5 years
even-
off of not fighting anybody, so.
Even still, he was real. Even like before then, like he was still made out to be a lot stronger than because he was more of a mastermind to me than an actual like.
No. He's always been a huge fighter. Like
He's
he
a
fights in his
that,
own
but,
battles. Yeah,
but his brilliance and like is how I feel he became. The Avengers like, mortal enemy.
But it is, and that's true. But it's also combined with the fact that like he was going in himself and getting dirty
His
and
military
murdering
prowess
people.
was like his thing. Like he was known.
Oh my
as an
god!
actor,
Let's
tactician.
talk about Dad bought a Thanos at the end there, wearing that like white shirt, recliner, farmer's outfit, and like just enjoying his days, picking some fruit.
My man was doing the damn thing. Farmer Joe.
There was so many like amazing one-liners though. Like whenever Tony called Rocket, like whenever he sees Rocket, he's like, up until this very moment, I thought you were a Build-A-Bear.
I like when he called him Ratchet, like from Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah,
When he was
Ratchet
and stuff.
Clank, yeah.
Oh my god! And the outfit changes too. Like Rocket looked awesome.
Yeah.
Loved his like whole
incredible.
Thor's gut was out the entire movie. I just love God.
The Big Lebowski the Big Lebowski references.
Yes.
It was just so insane.
And the Captain Marvel hairdo, great.
That was the call back to her actual.
Yep, loved it.
Her actual comic haircut.
Yeah,
which
for sure.
Shout out to Nicole. That's her favorite character, I think, and she absolutely loved. Like she likes Brie Larson.
And I understand.
I
understand why Captain Marvel came at the last moment. Obviously, she destroyed the ship in one thing. But again, even like with Thanos being able to hold the Infinity Gauntlet, he was focusing on something else, and like. Again, it was just like it seemed very, very, very.
Remember, that was exactly how everything needed to happen in order for them to win.
Yeah. Reference,
and that's why it was like that. The Big Lebowski references for Thor. It's.
Okay, you guys will probably all agree with me. I'm sorry, I completely forgot one of my most favorite scenes was the reverse intro to Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're watching Star-Lord dancing and he's singing.
Yeah, and it's just quiet. He's
and is he always this much of an idiot?
No, he's like, so he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they just hit him and
drop him. Poor guy. He did ruin everything.
Yeah. All of the dropbacks in time were so cool because it was either something like that was hilarious, or you had them sneaking around in the New York City fight, which was awesome as well because you had the America's Ass line, you had the Hell Hydra line, you had
Dude, that was so good. I thought he was gonna beat everybody up like in
that was
Civil
my
War
scene.
or Winter Soldier or whatever.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene.
But what's funny about that, though, about them doing that, is that there's an actual comic line, and I'm sure you guys know, where he actually turned out to be a Hydra agent.
Yeah.
And Captain America was like a secret agent the whole time, which is just so silly. But I swear, whenever he walked in there and you saw the guy that becomes Crossbones, you're like, oh, damn, this is that scene again. Like he's in the elevator. Yeah. He's about to, gentlemen.
I like when he fights
wait, did he have a supervillain name?
Crossbones. Yeah.
He was in Civil War at the beginning. He's the one.
That's right.
The one that they blow up.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. My bad.
Scarlet Witch had the awesome moment at the end where she's like,
amazing.
she's about to like light his ass up, and he's like,
kill Thanos.
And he's like, I don't even know you, and she's like,
Who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, exactly.
And then just the ladies coming at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. That was going to be one of my least favorite moment scenes.
Of course, I was going to talk to you about that too.
So here's the thing, and anybody that's not a feminist will 100% agree. Like Nicole sees that and she absolutely rolls her eyes. Like it's unnecessary, right? Because it's what all you're doing in that moment is like being like, okay, we're making this a point to show like where were the guys? Why did all of the females just happen to walk right up whenever she was like, she's not alone? Okay, yeah, she's not alone. There's 100 allies around. What do you mean? Yes, of course she's not alone.
Jack, God.
Well,
there's no reason to have that like one little like woman empowerment moment.
Is.
The most no, there isn't, because there's the most powerful Avenger is Captain Marvel, is a woman. There's no reason to have a little like women's empowerment moment where all the women superheroes get together and go, yeah, let's kick some ass.
No, it's
like they're already all kicking
ass. It's basically a little throw to the fact that they may be doing an A-Force, which is the whole like.
But that's a brand new thing as of right now. That hasn't even been rumored, and now it's being rumored because of that one little scene.
So that could have been what they had going on.
No, Josh, I don't think so. I think it was to be.
It's 100% a feminist little women empowerment. Oh, we're gonna have our movement. She's not alone. All us strong, independent women are here too. Yeah, and all the guys are too.
I disagree, but
yeah, I didn't think one way or another with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I watched it and was like, "Oh God, this ruined the movie." I'm saying like, okay,
it's your least favorite part of the movie.
No, I didn't say it was my least favorite part. I said it was a moment that was just kind of like, okay, whatever.
It was unnecessary, is what Jack's saying.
I just think it's cool because it was like all the little girls that are watching it something to like be like, oh, cool, because like 90% of it's for like little boys most of the time, because most of the main characters are male.
See, I don't know though, because again, like they've introduced so many strong female characters over the years.
I just think it was for that movie in particular, just for that scene. I don't know, but either way,
yeah. I mean, I thought Black Widow did a great job about that. going forward. I mean, you had the scene in Iron Man 2 where she just literally takes out every single guard between her and the target, and then what was it? The first Avengers, where she pretends to play hostage.
Oh, I just meant for like this movie
and talks on the phone, and then just
the entire thing.
No, I mean, let's be real. Black Widow has been useless for the past 10 years. But let's be honest.
What do you mean, dude? She's the most powerful Avenger. Oh wait, that's a different female.
I mean, she didn't have she's never meant to have any superpowers, right? She doesn't have any kind of.
No, of course not. No. She's super spy extraordinaire.
Oh my god! I had to take pleasure in the Hawkeye in Japan thing. That was such a cool scene. A very famous Japanese actor too, who played I think it was Toshiro or something like that, Nakajima or something.
That sword is fucking dope.
It's my boy Ronin. So cool. He's one of my favorite like branch series in the comics. But
so good.
Do you want to talk about what we didn't like then? Now that we're kind of going into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can break into that.
I mean, the main thing that I would say I didn't like would be that it ended. I was super disappointed when it ended because I could be there for another 12 or 13 days just watching it. But I mean, if I had to pick anything I didn't like, was just maybe that. Actually, I don't really know what I would say that it like really like off put me, other than the fact that I just hated seeing some of our favorite comic book characters. Like, we know that we're not going to ever see them again in the same way we're going to. Like, I'm a huge Captain America fan, and it was just sad knowing that he's no longer going to be. There's not going to be any more Captain America movies, and then obviously like Iron Man disappearing. I always love Iron Man's little cameos and Spider-Man and stuff like that. And knowing that he's no longer in the universe technically is kind of upsetting. So like I wouldn't say least far like mad that like the movie was bad at any point. Like, I don't have any least favorite in that sense. I'm just like more of like a fan stance. Like I'm just kind of bummed out about a couple things, but I mean, there's not much you can do on that side because
I don't know. I feel like Captain America is going to be the main character in the next Gran Torino movie.
Sitting there. Get out my lawn.
I mean, they do have Old Man Cap comic series, but he's just like he's pretty much just does like the Fury role. He just kind of oversees Shield. But but Chris Evans.
I doubt it. He looked like he lived too much of a.
So he slow danced a little too much for one too many years.
I know Jack's body and heart are just turning as they're doing time travel. Just
you know what I will say that one of my favorite moments, and I'm going to claim everything that I can claim on this. 2 weeks ago, we had a time travel episode, and I told both of you how full of shit all of the movies were and how none of it made sense. And then Bruce effing Banner one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe, literally said almost word for word everything that I said about those movies and why they don't make sense. And I literally was in the theater like, ha! I told you. I was like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
as smart as Bruce Banner. So,
And they start listing off movies, and they're like, Back to the Future, Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
all of that shit, they were all like listing all of the things, and then he literally goes through and was like, oh yeah, this is why it doesn't work, because you're going to end up with time loops, and then this, and then multiple realities, and
So Back
things
to
that
the Future lied
things
to
that
us.
don't make sense. And I was like, this is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So I for me, and I wouldn't say it was anything that was wrong with the movie. It's just maybe the path that they decided to take with it, going from Thor Ragnarok jumped straight into Infinity War. That Thor Ragnarok was freaking amazing. Like Thor was at basically some of his prime on, discovering new powers, and then you had Hulk just being an absolute monster, just crushing everything. And I mean, which movie was it when Iron Man says, "Oh, we have a Hulk"? Was that the first Avengers?
First Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, where it was like Hulk was the dude jumping and smashing and kicking ass with everything, and then we had theories that he wasn't even the Hulk in Infinity Wars because of how he wasn't able to participate. Mark Ruffalo still carries the character so good and made him fun and enjoyable, and he was able to use the Hulk Buster. And then in this one, he served his purpose doing what he did, and Professor Hulk is a cool character. But at the same time, that fight, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man needed a fucking Hulk by their side. It was I have loved watching Hulk rage the fuck out and just beat the shit out of everything that he can possibly get his hands on. That has been fun. And only getting, we did get a little bit of that because we got some of the, the New York scene from the first Avengers where he was fucking crushing.
Dude, he was going nuts. He was going nuts there. He killed those things underneath. He didn't just take them out. He just smashes them and then stomps on them.
Smash them 30 feet under the ground. That's the Hulk that I know and love. Yes, Professor Hulk is cool, but I don't love him the way that I love psycho mad raging Hulk. I wanted some of that. So that is definitely something that I missed in this, and wish I could have got to see more. But at the same time, holy crap, you had freaking Black Panther was killing it. Spider-Man doing his auto kill. You had Strange in there doing things. There was so many cool people doing cool moves that it wasn't when I was watching the movie that I was like, damn, wish Hulk was here, but after looking back on it, damn, I miss him. He's always been so cool, and I don't know what the future holds for him in the position that he's at now. So
I would have liked to have seen a Hulk Thanos rematch too.
Oh yeah, I
they was so disappointed
literally
with that fight.
10 seconds in Infinity Wars, and then it's all right, he's done. No, the Hulk is the one dude that you would be able to expect to be able to go, tit for tat with him.
Because in the first Avengers movie, all of my goosebumps moments were with the Hulk. When the Hulk jumps on the building and then starts, smacking everything on the wall, and then he's and then he punches Thor and smacks Loki back and forth. Those were some of my favorite goosebumps movies. And it didn't really have much of that for the Hulk, and since then,
yeah. Caleb, what about you? What's one of your least favorites?
I went first, so I kind of told that how it ended and stuff. But I definitely I'm in the minority that I liked Professor Hulk more than normal Hulk. The only reason being is I guessed it before the movie, and it made me happy that I was right. And I thought it was cool in the comics when it was the Professor Hulk line, because he just adds so much. Unfortunately, in the movie, he used the Infinity Stone the Infinity Gauntlet before the battle, and kind of messed up his whole arm and stuff, so he couldn't fight. Which I am disappointed I didn't get to see a Thanos Hulk rematch. Because I thought Professor Hulk rematch, he would have been more calculated and would have just had a good he would have messed him up pretty good. But unfortunately, he kind of took that mantle to try to bring everybody back, which he did. So really, he's the one who won the fight for everybody because he brought everybody back. So
Yeah.
And I kind of actually disagree with you there. And that's actually leads to like one of my couple least favorite moments. There was too much foreshadowing, as you know, the Hulk goes, I'll do it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden the gauntlet, grows, and the only superhero whose hand is as big as Thanos's to fit the entire gauntlet over the hand. I was kind of like, okay, I kind of see what's going on. And and when it feels rushed, especially in the beginning, from when they time traveled, it just kind of felt like they were going from okay, this is how they learn how to time travel. Oh, here's Ant-Man. We'll throw in some family stuff to kick it in there. Let's have the Captain America and Tony go back in time. Let's have Tony meet his dad again. I love seeing real life Jarvis, by the way. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, Tony had to meet his dad and be able to get some of that, I think, because of what was going to happen to him. Yeah.
Again, but the things just felt rushed. It felt like it was rushed until they tried to fit as much as they could into an hour and a half to get to things started to slow down when they time traveled. And that's when you started to see more movie elements instead of it just being like, all right, guys, we need to make sure this gets done before this. And again, don't get me wrong, the whole movie was great. Just some elements, felt rushed on it. And again, like the foreshadowing to make everything line up. And I know that's kind of like the Doctor Strange theorem, like everything has to happen this way in order for who knows what would have happened if, Hulk didn't put on the gauntlet or something like that. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just like, and again, Ant-Man just getting annihilated and coming back unscathed.
Well, I think that moment in general was the reason that they did it that way was because the way they explained it was that as soon as it hits, he shrinks and is not, and is able to not take all that damage because the next time you see him, he's like really small.
Yeah, and I get that, but it's still like that, but again, the Professor Hulk putting on the gauntlet, making it fit the exact size as Thanos. I know it's like a nano suit type gauntlet that can fit to the hand of the user, but it didn't shrink as soon as he took it off, and it never did shrink until then. And again, I don't even think Thanos visited the satellite where or the dwarf Smithy by then. I don't think, right?
No,
I don't think he visited it by then.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he visited it because I think it showed it in one part of the movie where with the gauntlet and everything happening.
Yeah,
the end scene of Age of Ultron is when the gauntlet is shown for the first time.
Right.
So it would have been after that.
It would have been
after when Thanos came back. Like the Thanos that they fought wouldn't have had the gauntlet yet.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He wouldn't have had. So they needed to have a way to get it to fit, onto Thanos to make it seem.
I don't know. I don't find that being a problem considering he has literally a Hulk Buster suit that can adjust and change that. I mean,
just to do anything.
Yeah, it's whatever. Like that didn't bother me.
I mean, he has that technology, no problem, because his nanotech suit adapted to fit the stones on his own hand. Minutes later.
But what I'm saying is the gauntlet could have shrunk. He could have, made it to where it didn't fit Thanos'.
There's no reason for it because it broke. It almost broke on his hand. You know what I mean? It's not a thing of, it would have shrunk back down because on the Hulk's hand, it almost fried. Because it fried his arm at the same time. And that's what happened. So, of course it's going to be like that size, I would assume. For me, though, I didn't really have a least favorite or not favorite moments. I had a couple moments where I rolled my eyes and was like, okay, that's kind of unnecessary, or maybe it just wasn't explainable. So whenever they go to Thanos' planet, they go to the garden and they kill him. Right before they kill him, Nebula tells them that Gamora was killed, on Vormir.
Yeah.
Is sacrificing for the Soul Stone, right? So they were all given that info, and then Natasha and Hawkeye go to Vormir to get the stone with no knowledge of the fact that one of them is going to have to die. Like,
yeah,
it's
well,
like
and
they completely missed the part where she told them that. Like, they went there without any clue.
Well, and
then they're
I
like,
paid
"Oh
attention.
shit!"
So what she says is that, because I think that she tells Quill about it. That she says that Thanos went
No. It's
there.
in Endgame. In Endgame,
Yeah.
she says it.
Well,
And
she
they're all
says that
and
Thanos went
Natasha's.
there with Gamora, and he comes back with the Soul Stone. So they don't know. She doesn't know the exact process.
These people are superheroes. They're not idiots.
Yeah.
Like, they're smart. He went there with Gamora, came back with the Soul Stone, not with Gamora.
No
Like,
fairness,
that's pretty obvious.
Hawkeye wasn't with
and
them in that
someone
encounter.
had to die. Someone had to die to get the Soul Stone. You couldn't. The only way that you could have is literally travel back to the point where Thanos got it and then teleport right out. That would have been the only way to get
But
it.
That's what I'm
like,
saying. Like, so they went there without seemingly without that knowledge, and then were surprised by it, and then one of them had to die for it. And I like the meme that said Hawkeye should have just thrown his bow in there.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course, just Nebula being able to put on a stripe and completely
just to change it. She just completely just fools them all.
We're in a superhero world where that kind of shit happens constantly, so I will let that slide.
There's gods of thunder running amok. I can disband my belief that someone put on a thing to look exactly like another thing. That's fine.
And then she brings in that massive ship that just enters the atmosphere, orbits above the Avengers headquarters, and no governments of the world, no shield, no nothing.
Well, they haven't even
sends them an alert.
They didn't touch on any of that stuff. So I'm hoping they do in Spider-Man or something, because they had they didn't say anything about shield, because pretty much Natasha was running shield. It seemed like.
It looked like.
So, but she definitely talk about Stockholm syndrome. That
well, again, half the population there was definitely a lot of looting. People weren't living their normal lives. I mean, Captain America was running a freaking depressed whatever that was.
Support. He was running a support group.
Yeah,
which is interesting because that's what Sam was doing whenever he got Sam to play Falcon.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a flip flop there, and why he was fit to play Captain America. But no, going back to my the things that I didn't like. So that was a big thing. That didn't really make much sense that they went there and did that. The time travel thing, they did it as best they could, but at the end of the day, the one Captain America version of Captain America is now stuck in a time loop. No matter how they try to explain it away, he's stuck.
Yeah,
he's always going to go to the he's going to go through Endgame, get to the point where he goes back in time to reset the stones, and then he stays there and becomes old to go sit in the park for them.
And again, when what do you call it? When she was on her deathbed, she had a picture of her husband, his wife, she had a picture of her husband on the table with her.
Yeah, but he went back before that. I mean, he goes back.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's a loop. It always happens. That's what you said. So no matter what happens, Captain America would have been her husband the whole time.
The whole time, yeah.
So then, but of course, in the movie, I think it is Winter Soldier, where he goes and finds her at the dementia clinic or something. The picture of her and her husband.
It would have been Steve there in the picture.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't have been there that day. But I mean, either way, that kind of thing. I mean, they did it as best they could. They explained it as best they could, and they did it to the point where it made sense if you don't try to really break it down, and that's fine.
I mean, it's the same way that all the other time travel. I love so many time travel movies, all the ones that they named in there, as far as Back to the Future, Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure, Hot Tub Time Machine, Terminator. I love all those movies. I'm able to just go, okay, whatever, time travel. Yeah, I understand your concept of it. I can follow the storyline enough to know what's going on here. I don't have to believe that the time travel works. If you're saying that it goes by this rule in your universe, then it does. We're all... Yeah. I mean, these are imaginary universes that unless they say this is normal universe, this is Earth, and we abide by all rules of physics and gravity and, whatnot... And then if someone starts doing something weird like flying, you're like, all right, why is he flying? Because I thought we were living in a real world. So here we have a fantasy world. They say, hey, these are our laws that we're going to abide by in time travel. It's okay, yeah, I can deal with that. My one issue is the fact with Captain America going back and living a normal life. Like, how many times have superheroes gone, I'm going to stop being a superhero, I'm going to live a normal life, and I'm just going to sit by and think crazy shit's going to happen in the world, and I'm not going to get involved with it.
And I would completely agree with you, Josh. Mm-hmm. However, the time traveling made it a point to where he traveled far enough back in time where he was able to live a normal life with her. And at that time, Captain America wasn't as popular as he was,
I'm not saying as popular. I'm saying
what I'm saying is as he got older,
and there's a bank robbery happening across the street. You think he's not going to go kick down some doors?
No, he's not going to, because he's living in a timeline where there is a Captain America. There's a Steve Rogers who is Captain America.
Yeah, he's not going to get recognized.
I'm saying that's in his heart. It's in his heart to be a hero. That's why he was chosen to be Captain America.
And he is
to be able to turn the cheek
Hold on. Have you not seen The Incredibles? Yes, the Disney Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Who's to say he didn't don a burglary mask and, knock him out on the outside and then left him alone?
Yeah, and if he does that, he's not living a normal life. That's all I'm saying.
We don't know what he did that, but he became unrecognizable by age. He grew up with her. No one recognized Captain America anymore because he aged. Probably got a haircut or something. Didn't dress up normal. Maybe grew out his beard a little bit more. You never know.
No, he was living. He was able to live a normal life because he's living in a timeline where he is already playing Captain America. He knows that another version of himself is doing all of those things, so he can be at peace and be like, "I am helping. I'm over there. That's just double me."
Yeah, well, I think what Josh is talking about is like the small things, like a lady gets her purse robbed or something like that. And Captain America,
he's always going to be Captain America. He's always going to be the good citizen, no matter what.
Yeah. I'm sure he's done some good Samaritan things and probably helped out every now and again while he was growing up, but nothing to the point of, I wanted to know if he had kids or anything.
Well, no, I think about the way that Tony is with Pepper, that she's constantly like, look, this isn't your fight. Let's try to have a normal life. And Tony's like, yeah, let's have a normal life. And something happened and he's like, babe, fuck, I got to go. That's how I feel like Cap would almost be.
Piper was not like that at all this movie. Piper was like, you're not going to be able to rest if you...
First of all, I don't know who Piper is, but
Pepper.
The rescue armor was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But going back to my final part of my least favorite things, Jesus, the way that they didn't really explain the ramifications of bringing back half the universe after 5 years. So get this, right? So figure this part out for me. So they didn't change time. They didn't go back in time, right? They time went forward 5 years, okay? And then they brought everybody back. So 5 years has passed on the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Peter Parker still in high school?
With his friend being the same age.
With his friend being the same exact age.
You got to take some creative license. You have to take some creative license on that. So obviously they're going to make everyone that he knows got snapped.
And a couple things. Everybody was brought back to the same point they disappeared. So what about someone on a pilot or passengers on an airplane?
The whole airplane of people with no airplane.
Even still, that we're talking about 5 years in the future on a war in just Earth, let alone the entire universe. People are brought back. All of a sudden, your husband has already moved on and is living with somebody else. You have people that have kids already. These people mourn the fact that they lost their loved ones. Right. And 5 years is a long time. That's a long time to try to get over somebody being gone. Right. You saw Ant-Man. He goes back to his house and finds his daughter. He doesn't even recognize her. She's a teenager.
Yeah.
So the last time she sees her, she's 8 and 7, 8 years old. And then now she's, 13, 14. Or maybe she looks like she was older. But how they didn't explain any of that. They just snap all these people back into existence, which is great. Everybody's alive again. All the Avengers can show up and we can defeat Thanos. But the ramifications of bringing back half the universe to a universe that's been living without them for 5 years is absolutely ridiculous. And it actually goes more towards Thanos because now all of a sudden you have absolute chaos. People that don't have food, jobs, money, they don't have homes to live. Their loved ones have moved on. Their loved ones are dead. All of this stuff. And they're just kind of
Well,
No
I
big
think
deal.
technically, because Spider-Man's the last movie of Phase 3, from what they said, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming there'll be some kind of coverage in that, and then I would imagine too. I mean, I don't know who watches it, but Agents of Shield is going to cover that as well. Most of like the ground floor stuff. So
Okay.
Interesting.
because
It
I
just
mean,
would be a lot of awkward conversations / a
Oh
lot of
no, no
chaos, a
doubt.
lot
Like
of
too much
I
to
just
honestly,
cover
I
in the
hadn't
movie
thought
is the
about a
problem.
lot of that.
I have after the fact. I'm like, wait. I literally thought of the same thing. Like, I'm like, what if you come back, but your husband didn't, and then they're like remarried and have kids already?
yeah.
Yeah, or I mean, like again, you're in an airplane. You got whisked away while you're in the
Well, see,
airplane.
I don't necessarily think they came back in the same
No,
place.
They never mentioned like
Because like
I
think about it,
think
like
they did mention.
look, think about what Spider-Man said. He said when he talks to Tony, he like rushes and says all this stuff. He's like, I was there, and then I was in this place, and Doctor Strange was there, and he said we had to wait, and then he said that it was time to go, and then we walked through, and now we're here.
it's
You
been
know, he
5
did
years.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't 5 years for them.
Yeah,
Is my
felt
point.
like that if
It wasn't 5 years for them.
He thought he got knocked out.
Yeah, they skipped time pretty much. They
He was like, yeah, I got knocked out, and when I woke up, you know, it was Doctor Strange, and he said we had to go, and now we're here. Like it was like they were inside the Soul Stone, everybody was all together, and now they opened up the portals, and everybody walks through.
I like the theory that Thanos never actually killed anyone. He actually made a separate universe for the other half, and then have them live on it.
That's lame. I mean, he says that he destroyed half the planet, is what he said. So
Yeah,
Well, technically,
that
half
would have
the
been a
universe,
smarter
but-
idea,
yeah, half
though.
the universe. Yeah.
But Thanos was doing this for the greater good of all people.
But the
or
thing
all
is,
living creatures.
but he also destroyed half of everything, half of every living animal, which still gives
Yeah.
half of stuff to live off of. So it's literally useless. You're just giving us half of everything, which is still going to be chaos. We're still not going to have enough food for the population that we have. So
Yeah, I don't think they get. I mean, and obviously they're not going to cover that stuff because that stuff in the greater scheme of this huge
Yeah.
battle and this epic moment, that it doesn't have any weight, right?
Yeah.
But it's just when you actually look at it in the terms of this entire 10-year arc, they were so concerned with the whole reason for Civil War and why they wrote out the Wachovia Accords and having them everybody sign and split sides was because of this casualty to human life and the collateral damage thing. When Scarlet Witch throws crossbones up in the air before he explodes and kills all those people in the building, it becomes this huge oh, now look what you guys are doing. You dropped half the earth over in Age of Ultron, and aliens coming from space in Avengers, and
Yeah.
yada yada yada, all of this collateral damage throughout all these movies. And it's a problem, right? And then in this movie it's like, well, you lose, and everybody, half the universe dies. Then you win, half the universe comes back to a world that's now going to be even more chaotic because there's been an entire invasion from another planet, plus all of the rebuilding that's gone on. Like it's just a lot of,
Well, again, it's because Earthlings still think that they're the dominant species in the universe. They're not considering, like again, Thanos would have got the gems without the Avengers. He would have wiped everybody out without, them being a part of it.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to the gems didn't even have to be on Earth. They just happened to be on Earth. And so, he snaps his fingers and, there goes half the planet without them knowing anything.
Yeah.
Because again, it could have been the Avengers on Quasidot 6 or whatever freaking planet. And all the Avengers are aliens. And they're all fighting their own battle. And then, Thanos wins, snaps his fingers, and then, there goes Earth.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of bounced around all these different moments and favorite and not favorite. Real quick, let's do a fire drill of, we'll go down the list and your favorite movie and why it's your favorite movie. And we're talking about out of the 22 movies from phase 1 to phase 3, right? Caleb, what's your favorite and why?
So I'm not going to go with Endgame just because it's so fresh and it's a cop-out answer. My favorite of all time would be Thor Ragnarok. One, because Thor is my favorite character, and two, the way it was shot, it was so perfectly done between funny, comedy, callbacks. Just, it was like the perfect, like, for me, it was like probably the perfect comic book movie as a Thor fan. Seeing, Planet Hulk, all those things kind of mashed into one. To me, it was the best writing and movie of all the Marvel ones, for sure. Other than, I mean, obviously Endgame was amazing, and then side note is the Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I really like that. Like the Guardian of the Galaxy series, just in general, I really like as well.
Yeah.
So that'd be mine.
Okay. Nice.
This is why Caleb's my friend.
Josh, what about you?
I couldn't agree more. I think that last time we had the Marvel discussion, that those were my two. I think that I leaned a little bit more towards Guardians as my number one. Mainly, I think what I like about that is there was a whole new set of characters that I honestly was not familiar with at all. I did not grow up with them. Like, they were completely new and introduced to me for the first time when I saw the movie, and I was blown the fuck away. Like, they all are incredible. Peter Quill has this incredible storyline that's amazing, ups and downs. He's a great character. Then you have Gamora, and her storyline is fantastic. You got Drax going like, from this just crazy mad killer to having some of the funniest freaking lines in all of Marvel history. Like, how long have you been standing there? For an hour.
I've mastered the ability
perfectly still.
That I'm become
I rolled a natural 20 on myself.
And then, freaking Groot and Rocket. And I mean, those guys have been so. I mean, like, name a character in any TV or movie that was as good as Groot. Like, a character that literally can't say anything other than make noises or say his own name, but made you fall in love with him. The only thing that comes to the top of my head is Chewbacca from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which, if you're side by side with Chewbacca from Star Wars, you've done a good job. Like, yeah. I mean, he is the god tier sidekick. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. So like, Groot fell into that category. So you had so many good aspects of Guardians that I was just blown away with that. But yeah, I gotta say, freaking Thor Ragnarok is just an hour and a half of fucking fun. Just kick ass Viking, badass fun.
Yeah. Luch, what about you?
Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely one of my favorites.
The first one?
Yeah, it really was. I thought, Quill was a really good. Chris Pratt played the best Star-Lord ever, just like how Robert Downey Jr. is the only person who can play Iron Man. Chris Evans, Captain America, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you said Marvel, so Deadpool got to be in there. Is Ryan Reynolds there's no one else who can play Deadpool. You look at your imagination and that's all you see. But in terms of like my all-time favorite Marvel movie, has to go to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is probably my favorite hero in the Marvel universe. One, because again, like, his introduction story was my favorite. I always loved the hero's journey part of a character. And while Thor, Star-Lord, they didn't really have one. Yeah, they kind of like had, maybe like a childhood flashback or something. Only really Captain America, Iron Man. Iron Man's my second favorite hero's journey. And Doctor Strange, did it really show like them becoming the hero that they were. And again, like, physics manipulation, time manipulation, the cloak of levitation. Like, he's a badass dude. The ability to automatically refill Thor's beer glass.
Yeah. So for me, it's so tough. There's just a lot of different ways that I can like look at it. I mean, the Infinity War, seeing everybody and the Thanos arc like come into fruition. Infinity War is just such an amazing movie. There's just so many amazing moments, fights, just all of that. So it's definitely up there. A Civil War, same Same thing. I mean,
So you're going for like all the group movies.
Well, the group movies, I feel like, as a whole, always have the best, biggest moments, right? Because you have so many different characters on screen at the same time. Avengers 1, whenever that came out, that was an unbelievable milestone for me to see all of my favorite Marvel characters together.
What was it, like 7? It was only like 7.
And there's only a few of them. I mean, I grew up watching the Avengers cartoon, right, and just seeing them all, and then like that theme song and the Avengers Assemble and all. It's just so cool to see that, and then they were on the big screen with the actors that we know. And then Civil War, they get to the moment where they have to choose sides, and you understand both people's point of view. Cap's not willingness to sign the things because he doesn't want them to be under somebody's thumb and to be ruled. But then you also understand like Tony's side of things, because there are people with powers that are dangerous that do need to be kept in check, and it's that struggle, and then heartbreaking to see Bucky and Cap fight Iron Man, and it's just like, and so like that's super cool. But the one that like is just so iconic and so well done acting wise, screenplay, is Iron Man. Is Iron Man 1, the very first one that started the entire series off. I mean, looking at that movie.
Well, didn't Hulk come out before Iron Man?
They both came out in the same year.
Oh, okay.
But that wasn't even. I literally don't even count that, even though it's technically counted in the in the thing. It's not Hulk. It's not Mark Ruffalo. And yeah, just seeing his story put into a cinematic. There's so many great lines. His persona, you see him change from the arrogant playboy, billionaire, to the smart, tactician that is Iron Man. Like it's a very amazing journey from start to finish, and really the movie that sets up the entire timeline going forward.
Yeah.
And without that one, you wouldn't have any of the rest.
No, and that's the thing. I mean, when it comes to like as far as movies go, like I so strongly want to say that, I don't know, maybe I just got caught up in everything, but I never had a movie hit me in such a way, like
Endgame.
Emotionally, like what Endgame did. And I mean, like, to me, it's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. The way that I just screamed and cheered and had just an amazingly good time. But at the same time, the only reason I wouldn't say that it's the greatest movie of all time is because it's not a standalone movie. Where like some of the other ones, like with Thor Ragnarok, you could come in as not knowing any character and you could get through that movie just fine. Same with Guardians, same with even Iron Man 1. That's where we all started. Right. You could watch that one from start to finish, have a good time. With Endgame, there were people that were like, I got so caught up in the hype that I went to see it, but I don't really know what was going on. And it's like, so it's not like,
you almost have to look at Endgame as a part 2 of Infinity War. Like if they're almost, if you're going to look at that, you almost have to like look at them together as one whole package.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even say like, if you're trying to start and this is the first time you're going to watch them, to start with Infinity.
No, definitely not. No.
Bare minimum, watch all the Avengers movies. But what I really wish, and that's the thing, like I don't feel like I gave it as much respect as I needed to. Like I really wish that over the past, like since January, that I would have watched every single Marvel movie in chronological order, really preparing myself for this, because I don't feel like I gave them enough respect for how much time and effort that they were going to put into this movie for me, because I feel like they killed it for me. And I was like, damn, like I feel like I was slacking, but you guys showed up.
Yeah. All right, so let's move along to to the end of our our own arc here, and let's talk about some things that we're looking forward to. Right, so we're looking back on 11 years of this phase 1, 2, 3, and I can literally remember being excited for every single movie in the 22 movies that have been part of the 3 phases to come out, to see the next advancement to see where it's going, all the way up into Captain Marvel, knowing that Captain Marvel was going to come out after Infinity War, because of the Nick Fury, pager in the after credit scene, and knowing, okay, now we're going to get to see Captain Marvel, and then watching that, and she's a complete badass, and knowing that she's going to be on their side, to fight in Endgame, and then seeing it come to fruition, right? So now we're looking forward. We're Marvel fans, we're these movie fans, we're comic fans. So what are we looking forward to going forward? Like how are we moving on from Endgame into what's to come?
So I would say that we definitely, Caleb and we're good to go because we got Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy now here to at least be buddy doing some stuff again that seems like we're going to get something from them in the future. As long as, good God, I hope I get another 10 years of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I would be happy with that.
So for me,
what about you, Caleb?
I'm definitely excited for more Spider-Man because Tom Holland, in my opinion, is my favorite Spider-Man. It's up for debate, but hands down, he's my favorite. He just brings life to the character, and when I see him playing it, it just makes me happy.
100%.
I feel like Spider-Man should. But some kind of out there things that I'm really excited about is a lesser-known comic book character that I talked to you about it, Jack, is Shang-Chi, who's actually supposed to have his movie being made here pretty soon. He's like a master of kung fu, and he's part of the next phase of the Avengers and Marvel movies and stuff. So I'm actually really excited to see. Hopefully, that's portrayed well and done well. And I'm just excited to see some of the lesser known characters, get their spotlight. Like, I know people have their opinions on Black Panther, but I'm excited for Black Panther going forward. He's one of my favorite characters since I was a kid. So I'm just excited to see, other characters kind of shine now. I mean, unfortunately, we don't get to see any more, Captain America, Iron Man, most likely, those type of characters. But I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for, the possibility of Fantastic Four actually done right. I would like to see it done right. Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, Galactus, possibly X-Men crossovers, Deadpool crossovers, like all these things now that Disney has Fox. Opens the door to pretty much anything. Any of the comic book storylines are available to be done now, even if they're just one-offs, like Wolverine and those type of things. Just seeing those characters in the MCU now is extremely exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the thing that's been so cool about this is, yes, it's been kind of sad to see these guys leaving, but I mean, some of the coolest stuff has been, Ant-Man came out of nowhere and blew me away. Had the best time watching his movies, and it was like, wasn't expecting them, when they were talking about, okay, we're doing the Marvel universe and here's Captain America and Iron Man, and then it's like, Ant-Man, bringing this motherfucker in here, but he's been awesome. Then they had, Doctor Strange coming in. Like, I wasn't very familiar. Like, there was a lot of superheroes that I'm familiar with, and there's still a lot that I'm not. Like I said, with Guardians, surprised me out of nowhere. So I'm looking forward to not only seeing some of the continuation with Thor or Spider-Man and those kind of things, but also, like, I want to see, what they're planning on doing with some of these new characters. I mean, Disney and Marvel they have done an incredible job that I trust them with anything. If they're like, hey, we want to do this character, do it. Like, I will definitely go see that movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, just going back to kind of like touch on what Caleb said, I think that now that the Black Panther, the first movie has come out and it's kind of made its, political statement, I think that the second one going forward can be a lot more pointed and awesome. I mean, Black Panther as a character, whenever he showed up in Civil War, it was just like, oh, hot damn! Like, Black Panther, this is awesome.
Yeah,
he was just really, really cool. Rivaling Captain America's speed and fighting, and he was just really, really cool. So I think that that's super exciting. The X-Men, crossover. Now that Disney owns all that, they can say the word mutant. They can have a real Professor Xavier. Not that and obviously the X-Men movies as they stand, still had the Marvel stamp on them, and all of that, and they've been good in their own right, but
they're pretty meh.
The newer ones is the old. I'm more talking about the originals. The original three. Once you get into the third one, it's kind of going. But like X1, X2, amazing. I mean, they were super great. They launched Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and he's just been awesome in every single one that he's done, even if the writing has been terrible. But back to this, things like you said, a good Fantastic Four, a good Silver Surfer. I mean, there's a lot of Marvel characters that can be done really well. I'm super excited about Disney Plus, the TV shows that are coming.
So excited for Hawkeye.
They're going to be like actual series. Loki and the Scarlet Witch and Vision, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and to see them, because like apparently from what they're saying, they're going to be heavily tied into the movies, right? So it's going to all be one big fleshed out universe. And if they can also get the Defenders and those characters in there as well, Daredevil and the Punisher, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, we haven't seen a good Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider's another amazing. I mean, Nicolas Cage is, he is what it is, and that first movie was entertaining, but like, I mean, a really awesome Ghost Rider. He's been in, I guess, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? They've showed him, and I guess it was pretty cool. So, seeing those kinds of things, that's really what I'm excited for. When I was a kid and I was collecting comics and trading cards, I remember all of the different awesome X-Men, Bishop, Gambit, Jubilee. I mean, all of these like super awesome X-Men characters that we've only really got to see like bits and pieces of, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, in the latest Deadpool movie, we got Cable, which, I mean, another Josh Brolin. I don't really know how you do that because he's, Thanos and whatever. But yeah, just seeing all these crossovers and everybody come back would be really, really awesome. And I'm excited for the future past what the Avengers looks like right now.
Yeah. So going back to, they're definitely, I think, also going for the younger generation. So one of the things I'm looking for is actually an Iron Man continuation, with Iron Lad.
I hope they don't actually do that.
Well, one of the reasons I think it might is because Harley Keener was at his funeral, and he was the kid that I didn't recognize.
In Iron Man 3,
yeah, and he was all grown up, and I think Iron Lad as Harley Keener would be a. You didn't like Iron Lad? You don't like Iron Lad?
No,
he's not like an Iron Man replacement. It's more like
his own thing. I know.
Yeah, it's a telekinetic armor, but.
I would much rather just see for now the iterations of Iron Man only being Pepper in the rescue armor. I think that's the only thing that I would.
I don't know. I think Ty Simpkins would play a pretty good. Because again, like you got Tom Holland, who plays the best Spider-Man. I agree with Caleb, best Spider-Man out of anybody. And then as far as that goes, you got the movie with that kind of Marvel horror movie coming out with the what was that, with Arya playing that movie coming out, kind of introducing the younger mutants and that kind of like horror.
What is it called? Movie. I forget. It's not Inhumans. It's oh shoot,
which looks great. I can't wait to see that. That looks like it's going to be an awesome movie.
Yeah, it does.
But they're kind of introducing like the younger generation going forward, and I hope that they introduce some of the younger Avengers. Even if it's not a lot of them, because even Thor had a sidekick. There was that young Captain America guy who looked like a ninja. I forget what his name was.
Let's get Squirrel Girl up in this bitch.
Oh my god, Squirrel Girl would be awesome. But like again, like there's a lot of cool heroes in the Marvel universe, and it's really hard for them to pick who to send out and to show.
Because I want to see.
Who?
Moon Knight.
Said that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. I need to go back and play the Lego
Did you say that,
Marvel game.
I sang it earlier, and then I think I was saying it during your thing, and then somebody said something over me, so I just was like, "Fuck it." But yeah, Moon Knight would be good. I've always wanted to see Moon Knight. He's one of my favorites.
But again, like Captain Marvel will also be, the most powerful Avenger, and I wish that they would introduce someone comparable to her power.
Adam Nova.
Warlock.
I was thinking Nova.
That's pretty strong.
I was actually going to say Nova because Iron Man also had a really good connection with Nova. That could also be Harley Keener too. Harley Keener could also be Nova.
But at the end of Guardians 2, the what's her face people were supposed to Create him.
Warlock, not Nova.
Oh yeah, derp. I'm derping.
Adam Warlock.
Nova had similar powers to, I think, Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
But Nova was more of a kid, and he actually had good ties to Iron Man, and he had a really badass costume. He had like that V shape
helmet.
I think.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I'm curious, Jack. Now, I mean, because we all tend to latch on to our different guys. I think when the series first started, of course, you've always been an Iron Man. I think I first jumped on the Captain America train, just because he's fucking awesome. But over time, I have definitely fallen in love with Thor. That it's so hard to pick between the two. The Captain Thor was incredible. So now with Iron Man being out, if the continuation goes forward, do you have someone in mind that's like, okay, this is my backup dude, this is my new Iron Man?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man's always been, Peter Parker has always been my, not my second favorite character, but just like another, I just think that Spider-Man, especially now, as Tom Holland, ever since Civil War, when he just showed up and he was just so good in the little parts that he got to play in Civil War.
Incredible.
I've just been a huge fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and I'm I really liked Into the Spider-Verse, even though I don't like Miles Morales' Spider-Man character and the portrayal of that. I don't like that comic line, but just his just Spider-Man in general, just his story and everything like that. So that would definitely be my, if I had to be like, oh, well, I'm no longer Tony Stark because Stark is dead, I would definitely be Big Dick Spider-Man.
God damn it, Jack. You really got me thinking about Nova now. If they really introduced Nova, that'd be so...
be cool, right?
Oh my goodness. And because again, I don't know why they made Harley Keener, they just showed him standing by himself right before Captain Marvel and as him grown up. And I feel like he's going to be something. He's got to be something.
Agreed. Caleb, I'm going to give you the final word. The final boss this week is whatever Caleb's thoughts are on the entire Marvel timeline leading up to this point.
An amazing journey of self-discovery and well done character development is the final boss.
That is the final boss. Marvel has done a fantastic job at telling the stories of all of our favorite characters. And like Caleb, you said, when it started, you were, this is 11 years ago. You were
like 14, you were younger, something like that.
Yeah.
When Iron Man came out.
I was younger myself, but at the same time, I had also been watching the cartoons, reading comics for 20 some years before they even started making these movies. And, the past 11 years in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a fantastic ride and portrayal of everything that I had in my head as an imagination. And as sad as I might be that the end of it had to be my favorite character, it's a bittersweet feeling of it being over and him being gone. Looking back on it, it's nothing but smiles. It's every single moment looking back on every single film, knowing that I can go back and watch them all over and experience the whole arc all over again and see it play out. It's something that we live in in this time period where we were here to witness it, right? We got to go to the theater and witness each phase and the end of it, and it come to a conclusion. And I think it's something to definitely be thankful for. And it's looking back on everything happens for a reason. It's in the movies, and everything had to happen the way that it had to happen. But it's like that in life too. Stan Lee, we always were he's was instrumental in creating all of these, characters that are some of our favorites, right?
Yeah.
And if he wouldn't have written the things that he did and drawn the things that he did, long time ago, we wouldn't be sitting here today talking about, some of his creations come to life on the screen, which is just super awesome. And this has been very, very fun, and I don't think any of us cried. Nobody cried tonight.
No.
That you know of.
That we know of. But I do want to take a second to thank Caleb for being our special guest. The shout out to this guy. Remember, he's this
shout out to that guy.
The pleasure was all mine.
Shout out. Yes, the pleasure is all of ours. And for everybody listening, if you made it through this whole episode, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for hanging out for the Endgame cinematic chat, the end of an era. And I think from all of us at the Bonus Level Podcast, we hope you have a great week.
Excelsior.
Later, taters.
You'll never hear that again.